Family's harmony. English summary story. On Christmas night in 1957, in a snowy village in Czechoslovakia, there's a quiet village near the Austrian border. People can't freely go to Austria because guards watch day and night. A man and a woman in a house are worried but determined. The woman holds a 6-month-old baby. She's excited but scared. They talk about someone who went to Austria safely the night before. They plan for the woman and baby to go tonight, but it's riskier because it's brighter with the moon. They prepare to leave, dressed in white to blend with the snow. The man warns about guards occasionally patrolling the road. They set off quietly. The man gives directions for a safe route through fields and a river to reach Austria where friends are waiting. With the baby on her back, the woman starts running but the baby wakes up and cries, making her slow down. As she reaches the road, she doesn't notice a car hidden in the trees, but the people in the car see her. Suddenly, then silence. The woman lies in the snow, and only the baby's crying breaks the quiet night. In England, 1995, Jan and Carol were having breakfast. Carol showed Jan a letter from the Oxford Orchestra. They needed a harpist for concerts in Prague during Christmas. Carol was excited and wanted to go. Jan, however, had work to finish on his new book before Christmas. Jan was a language teacher at Oxford and moved from Czechoslovakia to England when he was young. He and Carol met when she was his student. The concerts were on December 20th, but Jan couldn't make it until December 24th. Carol suggested Jan join them for the second concert on December 25th, since he couldn't make it for the first due to work. Jan worried about leaving his father, Joseph, alone during Christmas. Joseph, 68, had poor eyesight and lived with Jan and Carol. He loved family Christmases but couldn't see well. Carol suggested Joseph join them for the Prague trip as he often spoke fondly about Christmas there, admiring the snowy buildings. However, Jan felt Joseph only talked about Prague but never wanted to go because it reminded him of Jan's mother, making him emotional whenever he remembered her. As they spoke, Joseph entered the room, asking for coffee. Carol offered to make more, and Joseph thanked her, mentioning how kind she was to him. While Carol went to get coffee, Jan wanted to ask his father something important. Jan noticed his father's calmness and said nothing was wrong, but he felt nervous about asking. His father reassured him, jokingly saying he wasn't scary. Jan finally explained that Carol wanted to go to Prague for Christmas, and they wished for his father to come along. Joseph initially seemed confused but then realized their intention. The room became quiet as Joseph held a photo of his late wife, talking softly to the picture, hoping to return to Prague once more before he passed away. Carol returned with coffee, noticing Joseph's contemplation about Prague. The tension lingered for a couple of minutes until Joseph, recalling the beauty of Prague in the snow, agreed to go, reminiscing about his memories there. The rehearsal started at 9 and ended at 2, making it a long morning for everyone. The conductor apologized for the tight schedule, mentioning the upcoming important concert. They were urged to perform well. After the rehearsal, they were given the afternoon off to explore the city. They were reminded to be punctual for the next morning's rehearsal at 9. Carol left the rehearsal with Alan, a violinist, who asked about her plans for the afternoon. She mentioned grabbing a sandwich and going shopping because her husband Jan and his father were arriving soon for Christmas, and she hadn't bought their presents yet. Alan wished her luck with the shopping, and they agreed to meet the next day. After exploring the old town and buying gifts for her husband and father-in-law, Carol left when it was getting dark. Amidst the Christmas buzz, she spotted a man she thought was Jan but couldn't get his attention. She called out, but he didn't acknowledge her and walked away, leaving Carol anxious. Desperate not to lose sight of him, she ran across the street, but a bus accidentally hit her. Unconscious, Carol was taken to the hospital. The next morning, during the orchestra rehearsal, the conductor noticed the missing harpist, Carol. They searched the hotel but couldn't find her. Concerned, they decided to involve the police. Carol slowly woke up in a Prague hospital, confused. The conductor, Mr. Rinaldi, explained the accident and where she was. Carol was disoriented and couldn't recall the accident. Carol, in the hospital, suddenly recalled the Christmas shopping and calling out for Jan. Confused and in pain, she asked for her husband, Jan. The doctor and Mr. Rinaldi, the conductor, tried to calm her down, informing her that Jan was on his way after learning about the accident. Carol desperately wanted to talk to Jan, feeling frustrated that he had walked away when she saw him on the street. The doctor advised Carol to rest and not get too agitated, assuring her that Jan would arrive soon. Despite feeling tired, Carol couldn't understand why they didn't realize Jan was in Prague and she needed to talk to him urgently. Eventually, the doctor and Mr. Rinaldi left the room, allowing Carol to rest, though she remained anxious about speaking to Jan. Through the window, the doctor assured Mr. Rinaldi that Carol would be fine after some rest. But Mr. Rinaldi felt there was something more concerning about the situation. Mr. Rinaldi discussed Carol's condition with the doctor, expressing concern because he had spoken to Jan 3 hours ago, and Jan was actually in Oxford, not Prague. The doctor explained that Carol had a head injury but hadn't sustained any serious damage. However, she was confused about Jan's presence in Prague despite remembering other details about herself and her situation in the hospital. The doctor advised Mr. Rinaldi to take care of himself too, urging him to eat and rest before returning. Mr. Rinaldi agreed but felt distressed, worrying about Carol and the upcoming concert without a harpist. He felt sorry for Carol and concerned for his orchestra's situation, realizing it would be challenging to find a replacement harpist before the concert. A tall man, unfamiliar with Carol's name, arrived at the hospital 2 hours later. He had witnessed the accident and was concerned about the woman involved. When questioned by the doctor, he introduced himself as someone who had seen the accident and had called the ambulance. He just wanted to ensure that the woman from the accident was okay because he had been worried she might not have survived. The doctor offered Pavel to see Carol, mentioning her improved condition. They went to her room and looked through the window. Carol, waking up, mistook Pavel for her husband and called out to him. Concerned, the doctor suggested asking Pavel to step out to avoid confusion. As Pavel left for the lift, a man carrying red flowers hurriedly came out of the lift and entered Carol's room without noticing Pavel. An older man came out of the lift and mistook Pavel for someone else due to his poor eyesight. He thought Pavel was his son's friend but soon realized Pavel was someone else entirely. When Pavel introduced himself, the older man appeared afraid and didn't respond. Pavel, concerned, offered to help the older man and suggested seeing a doctor. However, the man insisted on going to the room where his son was. Jan, in Carol's room, placed red flowers on the bed and expressed concern for Carol's well-being, but she seemed confused, mistaking him for someone named Jan. The doctor intervened, questioning Jan's identity, as Carol had referred to Pavel as her husband. This created confusion about who Carol's actual husband was. Carol spotted Pavel with Jan's father through her room's window, causing her surprise to grow. She asked if Pavel was Jan. The doctor, noticing Pavel, shared the confusion. When Jan's father entered with Pavel, Jan was puzzled by the unfamiliar man. Jan's father identified Pavel as Pavel Brichta and requested a chair and water before explaining further. The doctor left the room discreetly, leaving the family to sort things out. The old man, Joseph, showed Pavel a photo of a young woman, Pavel's mother, Lenka. Pavel recognized her from the many photos his grandmother had shown him. Joseph asked if Pavel had lived with his grandmother, to which Pavel confirmed. Joseph revealed that Lenka was his wife and Pavel's mother. He confessed to Jan that he hadn't shared many details about Jan's mother, wanting to forget a painful past. Joseph then disclosed that Pavel was Jan's twin brother, pointing out the resemblance between them. Pavel, surprised, smiled upon discovering he had a brother, as his grandmother had never mentioned it. Joseph began explaining a story that started years ago when he met a woman he loved in Prague during a tumultuous time. They married in 1956, but things were challenging due to political unrest. 2 sons were born in 1957, but shortly after, due to dangerous circumstances, Joseph left for England with 1 son. He believed the other son and his wife had died. Pavel expressed anger, feeling abandoned, but Joseph explained that he had thought Pavel and his wife were dead. He then revealed a hidden letter behind the photo, written by Pavel's grandmother. The letter informed Joseph of his wife and son's tragic death at the border, shot by guards while attempting to flee. The letter also expressed deep resentment toward Joseph for taking 1 grandson away and ultimately losing her daughter and the other grandson. The letter concluded with a strong request to never return or contact them again. Pavel, deeply affected by the letter, expressed understanding for his grandmother's actions but acknowledged the pain it caused. He comforted Joseph, suggesting they start anew as father and son, despite the past. Tears welled up in everyone's eyes as they shared a moment. Jan, wanting to understand, asked Joseph to explain what had happened during Christmas 1957. Joseph revealed that Stanislava, Pavel's grandmother, shared little, only mentioning Pavel's mother's death and Joseph's departure for England. Joseph sympathized with Stanislava's desire for a peaceful family life and explained that she didn't support their activism for freedom. Jan then prompted Joseph to tell the story of Christmas 1957. Joseph recalled the escalating danger they faced in October and November of that year. Advised by friends to flee to Austria and then to England to evade the Russian authorities, Joseph and Lenka reluctantly decided to leave Czechoslovakia, their beloved home. With the help of friends, they crossed the border successfully on Christmas Eve, December 24, under cover of a moonless night and snow-covered fields. However, the tragedy struck the following night, December 25, as Pavel's grandmother had informed him. Lenka passed away on the snowy road at the border, just within reach of Austria, while carrying Pavel on her back. Joseph expressed the heartbreak of how close they were to safety and to being reunited. The room fell into a heavy silence as everyone reflected on the old man's emotional account. They were all immersed in thoughts of that fateful snowy night in 1957. Pavel broke the silence, suggesting they set aside the memories of that year for the moment. He expressed joy in having found family in Prague, even though he had no relatives left there. Now, he considered Jan his brother and Joseph his father, looking warmly at Carol in her bed and referring to her as his sister. He then inquired about the reason behind Carol's visit to the hospital. Carol inquired about Pavel's surname, wondering why it wasn't Vlok, like the rest of the family. Joseph, the old man, shifted slightly in his chair and explained that before Lenka, Pavel's mother, married him, her name was different. Pavel shared his choice to adopt his mother's name due to feelings of rejection from his father in his youth. Mr. Rinaldi entered the scene, expressing concern for Carol's health and emphasizing the significance of the impending concert. Feeling better and wanting her whole family to join her at Mr. Rinaldi's concert. The atmosphere is filled with joy and the promise of a special evening in Prague. As laughter filled the room and Carol expressed her readiness to play, an invitation was extended to attend the concert together. Everyone is on board for the concert, fostering a touching moment among the family members. It seems like the perfect way to celebrate their newfound connection as a family. This concluded with a heartwarming agreement to enjoy the concert together, strengthening the bond between father and son.